Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. And now to honor America, please join in the singing of our national anthem. Representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Happy Devils Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, season 3, episode 30, titled, Should I Stay or Should I Go? I am your host, Sam Wu, here with Scotty to the left, Beer Baron to the right, on Facebook Live, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube Live, Twitch, and on letsgodevils.com. Thank you for joining us. Lots of trade rumors, lots of trades going down. Guys, take it away.
Wow.
Nobody. That's such an intro.
I see it already.
What's that?
Matt Fraudenberger. Trade everyone.
It's the Scott crew. It's Tim Clark Callahan. How you doing, Tim?
Man. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Not much, man. I was trying to read a couple of different things that were going on. Ilya Kovalchuk is now a part of the Washington Capitals. So as soon as I said John posted Puck Covey. So indeed. At least we don't have to see him anymore. At least we don't have to see him for the rest of the year. So
yeah, and what a win for the Devils.
Clark
Tim
Clark Callahan just said we are 3 games under 500. No way we thought of this. That's a really good point. The season, because it started so bad, doesn't feel like it's going anywhere good. But to be honest with you, in the last, I guess since Nazardine has taken over, this team has played pretty darn good, or at least decent. Mackenzie Blackwood has a 6-game, pretty dash darn good. That's right there. Oh boy, getting a little heavy with the language there, sir. But Mackenzie Mac Black himself, the detective / goaltender with 6 wins in a row.
6. That's a 6-pack challenge right there.
6-pack. He's already gotten a 6-pack. Now he's looking to let's see if he can double it up and make it a 12 spot. So the only team, the Detroit Red Wings,
with that defense, whoa, man, jeez.
Oh God,
jeez,
you ready to make another 56 saves out there? So the Detroit Red Wings are the first team,
and not be the first star.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell did that? That didn't make any sense. We were, by the way, we'll get into last Sunday, which was awesome to see you at home.
Oh yeah,
it was a lot of
we'll
fun
do
to
a
go
nice
to the
little
game.
wrap up.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, Detroit has been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. Which, if you're a fan of a team, you're like, damn, that's rough. Their season is a bad season.
Shot.
And
Bad season.
Detroit being officially eliminated this early, and just imagine being a fan of a team. And listen, our season's not that much better. It's not like it's not. There's been some highlights. Yeah, Ovi scores his 700th. Yeah, Ovi scores that 700th goal, and Damon Severson wins the game. And one of the things I like that Sevo said after the game was, he scores that 700th. We could have just sat there and been like, all right, congratulations, and kind of sat in awe about the whole situation. But they went out and they're like, we still got the rest of the game to play, and they actually won the game. And at points, was it impressive? No. I mean, they look terrible at points, and then they look really good at points. You have Jasper Bratt, who's a healthy scratch the other day against St. Louis for whatever reason, because it was the dads were in town and his dad couldn't make the flight. And they're like, well, if your dad's not here, you're sitting on the bench because you're a loser. And your dad doesn't love you, so neither does Coach Nazardine. That's not true. I'm just saying. But they sit him in that game. Allegedly. And the game before, he has a shootout, a beautiful shootout win, which was the game that we were at. And then they bench him or healthy scratch him, which then also keep in mind, like he gets the healthy scratch, and then all the speculation of like, could this possibly be mean, that Bratt is being dealt? And then he comes back and he scores 2 beautiful breakaways in 2 consecutive games. I mean, the kid is really coming into his own. If you look at what he was doing under Coach Hines and what he's doing under Nazardine, it's apples and oranges. It's crazy how much he's progressed in this second half of the season. So I don't know about you. There's a lot of things going on right now in the NHL. They just announced the Winter Classic. Who cares anymore? And a couple other things that have been going on. It's in Minnesota. It's St. Louis. St. Louis and Minnesota. It's going to be a Target Field in Minnesota, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but we're just recycling the same things over. I think we'll get into this conversation a little bit. We'll save this for a little bit. But I do want to tell you a little tease. We'll tease that because we want to talk about that in a little bit if we remember to talk about it. But I want to get your thoughts about this. The trade deadline being tomorrow. A bunch of names that are kind of being floated out there. Kevin on the Facebook group just said a potential of this team is certainly there. Oh, wait, I want to see something. Justin said, how do you guys like Severson? I think he can be a top 4 D man for years to come and continue to develop. So I'm going to let you take that one because he's one of the names I wanted to talk about in this whole trade deadline situation because unfortunately his name has been floated out there. So I've been rambling for the first couple minutes.
Well, I don't think I mean, if they get blown away, I don't think they're going to be actively shopping Damon Severson. I actually have to look up to see is he 28 or is he 26? I really don't remember off the top of my head. I'm going to look that up. Damon Severson. Where are you, buddy?
Which, by the way,
how old are you? He's only 25. He's 25. Wow. He's a lot younger than I thought. I thought he was a little bit older.
Yeah.
You know what? He has shown improvement. Sometimes Damon Severson, not in the same sense, but he almost kind of reminds me of I used to love and hate Johnny Oduya at the same time, because he would make these like incredible plays, and then he would do something where he would just like trip skating backwards and let like a 2-on-1 go right by him. And I feel like Severson still has some of those moments where You know, he had that amazing goal to win the game against the Caps, but he blew a couple coverages here and there. I don't know. I've definitely seen a lot of improvement from him. So unless I'm blown away by something, you know, at 25 years old, I didn't realize he was that young. I honestly thought that he was older. I guess he really, I can't remember how many years he's been on the team now. I felt like it was like, did he really start when he was 18?
Possibly. I'd have to look that up. I don't know. But honestly, I think it's fun. It's interesting because Kevin. No, I was just going to say, so Justin brought up that point, and then Kevin brought up a good point. He has the potential to be a top 4 D-man. If he cuts down the bonehead plays, he can certainly be a top 4 D-man. And I totally agree. Exactly. I mean, Severson, and then Tim Clark Callahan says, Severson's offense and Carrick's defense would be one awesome defenseman. And we got to say what's up to David Decker, who just popped in, and Matt, who just popped in.
What's up, guys?
Michael, who popped in, he said, "Oh, do you want a cup?" And that's true.
Yeah, he did. He did
for Chicago, but
for the Chicago Blackhawks of Chicago.
Who would win in a fight, Dicka or a Hurricane?
And the Hurricane is named Hurricane Dicka.
Anyways,
I make the Baker's dozen for me, Dad. What's that?
How many heart attacks is it this month? It makes a Baker's dozen. But anyways, so Damon Severson, I feel like he could be a top 4 defenseman, but his name has been thrown out there for a possible trade. Sami Vatanen, who knows if his foot is going to be any better because he can't put a boot on.
I think that's
he
where
can put on some dancing shoes, though.
Yeah, that's where our real trade, should lie ahead. I think if we can get anything for Sami at this point, it's going to be tough because he's been injured. This is the second time he's been on, on the shelf, so to speak. What happened?
Well, I'm just saying. No, I'm not saying like anything. No, nothing just like pop. Yo, imagine see, that's what happened. And we'll talk about it too. Another teaser, but when we had the live podcast last week, when all that stuff was going down, and you saw the real raw reaction of like how upset I really was.
I was just like, I saw a little finger wave. I saw you giving me the Matumbo, and I was just like,
no. Just because no. The situation with Sami Vatanen, it's a bruise. Like Nick Villano was saying last week, it's a bruise. Now, if you look at the situation that's going on in Carolina is in some deep water because
Dougie Hamilton broke his leg. He didn't bruise it.
Well, yeah, they have a lot of injuries, and it was kind of cool because they had the E-Bub come in, and he works for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he beat the Toronto Maple Leafs.
David Ayers.
Yeah.
Or something.
If you watch the video of after the game,
awesome. I saw it. Yeah.
After the game, when he walks in the locker room and they start showering him with beer, I was like, "That's awesome."
Yeah. That was great. What a cool moment too. Like how many, just being there at that arena. How many times he must have had that daydream? One of these days, probably like telling his kids or something like that. Oh, you never know. Yeah. And then lo and behold, it actually happened.
Yo, and apparently you get paid $500 to do it too.
Oh yeah, you get a little bonus at the end too.
You get $500 and you get to keep the game worn jersey, which is kind of cool.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Awesome
just
job
imagine
by that guy. That's really cool.
And to get the win too is pretty sweet. Tim Clark Callahan, fan favorite, says Ayers is better than Schneider. He's got a better record than Schneider.
Well, yeah.
That's sad.
Here's the thing, though. With Corey, now that he's up, listen, I mean, Louis Domingue, that was not going so well, So with Corey back up here and Mac Black probably taking a good portion of the games remaining, I think Corey can really provide, hopefully, some good mentor and leadership towards Mac Black, because let's face it, Corey's been through just about every single experience you can go through in the NHL, save for winning a cup, so he's got plenty of that experience, that learning experiences, to pass along to Mac Black, who has really started to come into his own. What is it, 6 straight, looking really good against that tough tough Capitals team. I mean, those guys are stacked from head to toe, man. Carlson, I think Carlson leading them in points too. How is a defenseman leading the Capitals with all those guys with Ovi, with Oshie? You know, I mean, they have so many weapons.
Now they got Kovalchuk. Now they have.
And now they got he'll just need like 3.5-minute shifts. You know, so he'll probably take away time from someone else, and
he's getting put into like the perfect situation because he's not going to try to pull rank because he's got Ovechkin there, and Ovechkin's going to keep him in check. I feel like it's as much as I dislike Kovalchuk, and I was like over the whole Kovalchuk situation until he shushed to the crowd at the Rock, and that just like, oh man, that was like, oh, terrible.
I got time for Kobe. I got time for Kobe.
All I'm saying is, I'm glad we don't have to see him, and now that he's in it, outside of my feelings of the dude, it's a perfect fit. I really feel like it's a perfect fit. And to be honest with you, that team going into the playoffs right now, on paper, is absolutely scary. And I would hate to be in like a playoff. Like, imagine if we're the Devil. Imagine if the Devils found a way, which is, I don't know if it's even mathematically possible right now, but imagine if the Devils found a way to like sneak into the playoffs. Did have to play like the Washington Capitals in the first round and just completely get their doors blown off, or like how sweet it would be.
Yeah, probably.
If the impossible happened, the Devils found a way to like pull off like 10 straight wins, which I don't even know if 10 straight wins. Somebody look this up. Tim Clark Callahan. See how many points the Devils are out of a playoff spot, and see what they would have to do, what their record would have to be for them to.
We're like over 20 points out of it. I mean, there's no way we're getting. There's no chance. I will tell you
we're
right
like
now.
A week away from being.
Standings. We have 58 points. Carolina and Columbus are tied with 74. So we're 16 points. Yeah, we're 16 points out of a playoff spot.
And how many games are left in a season?
What do we got? We've played 61. So what does that mean? We got 20. What is it? 82? Yeah. So it's 21 left. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, David Decker. I will take another sip of beer.
You could just put the X next to it. You know, this year is past. That's why it's bring on the kids. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, pretty much. It's it's inevitable what's going to happen tomorrow, and I hate to say this because it's going to break my heart. We're 16 points back, and we need.
Don't even try to hurt your brain with doing math. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, brah. What we really need to focus on is if we're going to trade Kyle Palmieri and if we're going to trade Sami Vatanen. That is what we really need to focus on. And I'll be quite honest with you. I know in our little text chain that we have going on between, you, myself, and Shorts Guy, and the greatest producer in the history of the world, Sam Wu of Sam Wu Productions. I didn't want Coleman to get traded. But after he got traded and we got a significant amount for him, I'm kind of interested in what maybe we can get in a Kyle Palmieri trade. There are some teams out there that are going to be looking. We were scouting a lot of Colorado's defensemen. They're still looking for some scoring help.
I don't know if Colorado would be. Joe Sakic has basically gone out and said that he does not want to get rid of any assets in the sense of like he doesn't want to get rid of any draft picks. He doesn't want to get rid of any top end. He doesn't want. He's one of those dudes that I don't know if it's posturing. I don't know if it's posturing or he's saying like all these things where he doesn't want to give up anything and wants to get something in return, which is not going to happen. But they're in need of goaltending. They're in need of goaltending help too. And how funny would it be if they sent I don't want to see Palmieri going. Somebody brought up a good point when he won that when they won the last game against the Capitals. They gave him the jacket and the glasses at the end of the game, which to everybody on the outside, like whatever, some people don't even care about that kind of stuff. But I feel like it would be it was kind of fitting that they gave it to him.
Why was it fitting?
Because it fits everybody, and it's a size fits all jacket. No,
Okay.
because it seemed like they were giving it to him like ceremoniously to say like, "Hey, thanks." Like they knew he's gone, and I wonder because he just last night had the foundation. Which first of all, we have to say congratulations to the Kyle Palmieri Foundation.
I was just going to say, it could be that he was doing a military ball also later in the evening, and it is a flight, jacket and everything like that. So they could have been saying, good job for that as well.
No, that could be. That could be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right, Oliver Stone.
There was a second man on the grassy knoll, and he was from Edmonton, and he had a contract. But yeah, I honestly
there was a second spitter.
So out of the people that are speculated to move, right? You have the obvious ones that are probably more than likely going to move, which is Palmieri, Vatanen, and Simmons, and then you have the secondary group that could move, may not move, which is Miles Wood. I forget who that. Oh, Damon Severson, and there's somebody else that was mentioned. I saw in an article recently that was. I was kind of like, no, I don't think they would move him, but damn it, I can't remember. Anyways, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. Tomorrow is always a crazy day in the NHL. Sometimes there's some big moves that you don't intend to, or you don't think is going to happen. I think Chris Kreider is going to be a big indication of what's going to happen to Palmieri, because I feel like there's a lot of teams that are going to be going after Kreider because they feel like he's a better option than Palmieri. And then if he gets moved early, and I would expect Palmieri to get moved right after that happens to the team that just missed out. But I don't know. That's just my speculation.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I think the Devils are going to ask for a lot for Kyle Palmieri. I mean, I believe that those would be the top three: Palmieri, Simmons, and Sami Vatanen. And of course, the latter two, their value is hurting right now. Wayne Simmons hasn't, had the best year offensively. He's provided a lot of leadership behind the scenes, but offensively, his numbers are a little bit lower than I'm sure he would probably want them to be at this point. So trade value a little bit lower. Also, UFA, Sami Vatanen.
Yeah, but if you could get no, go ahead.
Sami Vatanen, while he's had an impressive year, he's been hurt a couple times, and he's hurt now. We don't know exactly what's going on with him. And here's the thing: since the Coleman trade, that's what I was saying. Since the Coleman trade, I've been intrigued with the different packages we can get for some of these guys. Any team without a first-round pick, I think Fitzgerald might be stalling over for someone like Kyle Palmieri. We've heard plenty of rumors about the the Bruins and stuff like that, but after their deal with Anaheim, they don't have a first-round pick next year, and I don't think Fitzgerald, unless he's getting a couple of players, I don't think Fitzgerald is going to move Palmieri for that. Now, we have mentioned a couple other teams as well. Vancouver, Colorado, and stuff. So we'll see exactly where it plays out. Who has picks that can be moved. Now, for Sami Vatanen, we probably not going to get a first round pick, but maybe a second round. Stockpile. What we can get for Simmons, we'll take. I think. And Wayne can go and maybe pick up his game, maybe get a little revitalized somewhere else if we can get something back for him. Those will be the big three, I think. And like I said, I didn't want Palmieri to move, but if some team is going to come in last minute and blow us away with an offer with another pick in this super deep draft next year, it's hard to say no to. As I was saying, Vatanen and Simmons, their trade value is a little bit lower right now. Kyle Palmieri, you can argue, has never had a higher value on the market than where he's at right now. With that extra year of control, with his scoring, he's done it continuously now for 5 straight years. He's proven that he can put in, about 25 goals a year plus assists. He's a proven leader. how much higher can this guy's value go? I don't think it can get any higher than it is right now. So do you take that opportunity while it is so high, even though he is someone that, hey, is arguably could be, one of the next captains of the team. Everyone seems to be settling in on him and Nico as those two candidates. Do you trade someone like that? Do you have enough leadership in that room to be able to replace that? So I think that's what the team is going over, and they got to decide. And tomorrow's the deadline. If they don't get blown away, I don't think they're moving them.
No, and I think that's what Fitzgerald. He actually publicly said, like, for Palmieri to get moved, he needs to be absolutely blown away. And I just hope, to be honest with you, with all these trades happening and all this other kind of stuff, Palmieri getting moved would suck. But if you get a first round pick, because what a lot of people don't understand, like, yes, this draft is really going to be deep. But acquiring all these first round picks doesn't necessarily mean you need to use them as, you need to draft with those picks. You could, take those picks and flip them for NHL talent. Yeah, you could flip them for somebody that like a top.
Yeah,
exactly.
A controlled asset who's already gone through some of the minor system and is ready for NHL instead of someone who's going to need
having to wait on somebody, especially defensive prospects. And we have like a bunch of defensive prospects. Ty Smith being right on the top of that list. That should be stepping into the NHL next year. But I mean, there's so many different things. Oh, what is that? A Sutter House? Man, you're fancy. Sorry, I was talking to Nikki.
That's some Zinfandel there.
What is that? Zin? What are you getting? Zin?
Is that Zin?
Zinsanity?
Sutter home.
But the point that I'm trying to make is like it would be either way. You could take, if let's say they trade away Vat and they get they could trade him to Carolina and they get one of Carolina's first round picks. Boom, you already have four. Now you have, and if everything has to line up, that's another thing too. Is we need Arizona to miss the playoffs or get bounced in the first round if they do make the playoffs, and hopefully their pick doesn't get, it doesn't end up in the lottery, because if that happens, then we get their next year first round, I think. And then the same thing with Vancouver. We need Vancouver to make the playoffs. Otherwise, we don't get their first round pick this year. We get it next year. So that's the other thing too, is the two first round picks that we have outside of our own. It's not like 100% guaranteed that we're going to have a first round pick, because we need certain things to happen. And the West is wide open. And those two teams are hovering right around the same wild card position. So,
well, the West is so much tighter. Those teams are really, I think Vancouver is actually they're in second or third in their division, but they're
like a point, like 2 points.
They're only of the wild card. It's going to change. And all I want to say is I love the Hughes family. I love Quinn Hughes now. I love him to keep playing very well. And I hope his brother in his second year plays a lot like Quinn does. He's having quite a nice year over there. What's he got? 40 some assists?
Would you trade our first round pick? So our first round pick, which could be a lottery pick, would you trade our first round pick and
Quinn Hughes?
Let's say Damon Severson for Quinn Hughes?
Probably.
I'll throw that one out to the social media too. Like, neither am I, because I'd be like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. The kid's young. He's already showing a lot of upside. Sky's the limit. Reunite him with his brother. That'd be kind of cool. I guarantee somebody would be like, you're a moron. Like, why would you?
Oh, I'm sure.
Because I'm not a GM.
I mean, maybe we would have to get something also, maybe another draft pick return sort of thing. But if they could pull something like that off, yeah, I'd be interested in that. Yeah, I mean, how could you not? The way the kid is producing, the way he's playing, and I think it really, hopefully, I think Jack kind of progresses in the same way. It looks like that year down in the AHL,
all day,
right? Did he play AHL? Did he play junior? I can't remember, but it looked like that year, kind of in development, really worked well for Quinn Hughes. So hopefully Jack can take those steps forward in the next 2 years as well. While we're still kind of transitioning.
I think we talked about this on the previous podcast. He openly says like he needs to work on his shot. He needs to work on his physical strength, and he just needs to get pow. He needs to get just.
I give it next 3 years.
What happened?
Wow, Ryan, man, he's wheeling and dealing over here. He's making it happen. Not taking any chances. He wants that confirmation. Vancouver's 3 points above the wild card. Arizona's 2 points. Yeah, they're all still bunched up over there. So we're really need to pull for the Canucks, and I like those Canucks uniforms. So I don't got a problem with that. So, and old Bo Horvat. Oh, Bo, what you could have been.
That's the Corey Schneider trade, isn't it?
That is the pick that Vancouver used.
Brian Linden, my brother-in-law's watching. What's up, buddy?
Louis Domingue. What about him, Benji?
Louis Domingue.
Oh, King Louis is. Oh, I don't think Louis is. Whatever. It's a good soldier with some cool pads. I like his pads.
Look at our first round picks besides Nico and Jack. Would you trade 3 of them for Quinn Hughes? You mean would I trade Pavel Zacha, Michael McLeod, and who is our other?
You would trade Mikey McLeod?
Ty Smith. Would you trade Ty Smith? Would you trade Ty Smith, Mikey McLeod, and Pavel Zacha for Quinn Hughes? Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah, I would.
God,
100%.
You know what's crazy too? Is like I'm trying to think about like what. See, tomorrow, what people that like when you're really into hockey, like tomorrow is one of those days where, no matter what your team is, like if your team is really good, if your team is in a hunt, you're sitting there looking at your phone every 5 seconds because you're like, oh my God, are they going to make a move? Are they going to bolster the lineup? Are they going to do something good? If your team sucks balls, you're like, at least we'll get rid of some people and get some assets in return. Like, so there's the interest. This is why I love trade deadline for the NHL. It's better than every other sport. I don't care what any other sport says, like the NFL, NBA, because the NBA, there's never like there's people that move, but it's never as impactful as the NHL. I always feel like the NHL has the best like trade deadline. So I don't know, our team being where they are, I'm very interested to see what's going to happen.
I think we can acquire some really good assets tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. It will be exciting, that's for sure. I do love the trade deadline, and thank Brodeur for modern technology over here. That we used to remember back in the day. You're just like F5, refresh on your computer. Now it's just the magic of Twitter and Instagram. It's just poof, 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 right there in front of your face for you.
Yeah, but that's the other thing too. So let's talk about what happened last week when we were live at PJ Ryan's in Newark. We had the pre-podcast and then we have a pre-game and then a post-game podcast, which was a lot of fun. During the
we didn't even know we were live. Sam Wu was just like, "Hey guys, you're live." You know that we're sitting there drinking beer, having a good time, looking at our phone, realizing that Andy Green had just been traded, and then Sam Wu comes back with the old Sam Wu Productions text and is just like, "Hey guys, look at the camera. You're live."
Yeah, and it also he goes, "We're live right now," and thank God we kind of like we're standing right next to the mics because what was it like a minute after we went on live and we're starting to talk about Andy Green and we're like, "Oh wow, the captain got traded," and you feel kind of bad for Andy Green. And first of all, I have to say this: good on him for going to the military ball, like to the Kyle Palmieri Foundation. Like he actually went. It's not like he got shipped out to like Columbus and like flew back for it.
I mean, it's not that far for it.
But at the same time, he's technically, he's not a part of the team. So like the fact that he came back,
write that Uber off there,
Yeah, exactly. What are you, 15 minutes away? It's in your backyard. Just get in the car and drive down the street, you moron. But the fact that he actually showed up was pretty cool. But anyways, as we're talking about Andy Green getting traded, both of our phones start blowing up because we're looking at social media and everything starts exploding. Everyone's like, they're like, Coleman's gone. And if you watched, it was like that scene from The Simpsons when Ralph's heart breaks on national TV when he's when Lisa yells at him during the Valentine's Day special. I choose you. That I felt like that happened to me live on the podcast because as soon as we saw the breaking news that Blake Coleman was gone, I could feel my heart breaking. But then what ensued was the craziness of not knowing what was going on because if you remember, like it was Boston, it was this, it was that. It was like he's traded, he's not traded. His wife's pregnant or in labor, and it was insanity. And then finally everything the dust settled and blah blah blah. But that's the upside and downside of what we have nowadays.
It was a lot of fun though. It made for exciting radio, and we didn't even know what was going on. And the Devils ended up breaking the internet of Newark, New Jersey, because we went down about an hour or so into our podcast while we were still discussing everything and weren't 100% sure on everything. The Devils went ahead and broke the internet of Newark and crashed us. So we apologized actually last week for everyone who was watching when all that madness was going down. It was crazy, man. We were literally like just reading our phone updates as it was coming out. But it was exciting at the same time. And that was a great game. Shootout victory. Devils played very well. The Capitals game, woo, they played good, for parts. They looked a little shaky at times as well. But Ovi getting to 700, that was cool.
Tim Clark Callahan said the art Lafreniere jersey.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Sam's going to interject.
Uh-oh. Sam,
I just want to also point out that that podcast we did, not only did we break the internet, but we also broke the internet at PJ Ryan's when the credit card machine wouldn't work for 15 minutes. That's how many people tuned
in. It wasn't the
credit
card machine. It was their entire system. We flatlined their entire system.
Yeah. Yes. So they blamed us, and then we blamed Fitzpatrick for I'm sorry, Fitzgerald for
and Fitzpatrick, whoever that is.
Yeah. Whoever that
Fitzpatrick
guy is too.
And Carl Fitzpatrick.
He was drinking all the beer
in the sandwich. The guy ain't cool nothing. It's like, shut up, Fitzpatrick.
He's eating all the potatoes and drinking the beer. Oh, Fitzpatrick.
Oh, Fitzy.
Guys, we have a lot of people on social media. We have a lot of people on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. I haven't seen that many people in a long time.
Oh yeah,
live on YouTube Live. Yeah, people are commenting.
It's the anticipation of what's going to happen in the next 24 hours because not even 24 hours. It's less than that because it ends at 3:00 tomorrow.
It's weird. Can we get a clock like 24 counting down?
Yeah.
Sam will.
Without the annoying.
Okay. Let me work on something.
And every time a trade happens, Jack Bauer comes in and just eliminates somebody. Just puts him in a chokehold and takes him out of the room. And a trade just happened, and I can tell you I know how because Jack Bauer just killed someone. So, seriously though, I mean, I feel like it's weird that today has been such a quiet day. Typically, I know like the NHL trade deadline, like a lot of action will happen tomorrow. And a lot of things will kind of go down tomorrow, and there will be a lot of like movement, and it's like it's fun because I don't know, like you brought up a good point. Remember the F5 days we were sitting there, refresh. If it was more fun then, you did good. There's a treat on the desk right behind you. You take the treat. I don't know if it was more fun back then when you had to like sit there and wait for some kind of like information to leak in, or if it's even better now because it's like you have everything at your fingertips. Like the Kovalchuk that trade broke and we found out about it within, I don't know, minutes of it actually happening. And that's the beauty of it. But it's,
and we were live. Nobody else was live, right? I think the Let's Go Devils podcast were the only ones live on the scene,
smashing it,
reporting the action with the help of our good friend Nick Villano.
That's right. So tomorrow's going to be interesting, unless something happens tonight. So, and that could happen too. And that's the thing too, is like, do you think, how often does it happen that somebody gets traded in the middle of the night? Not often, right?
Well, I mean,
I know East Coast, West Coast crap. Like,
who's a night GM and who's an early bird? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Who's having drinks, getting drunk? Yeah, you want a Palmieri? Let me see what you got over there. I don't know. I don't think it happens that way. But
we want Cole Caulfield back in return. I don't know. Oh, if we're going to trade whenever. How cool would this be?
So
Cole Caulfield.
I don't know. With a player like Bratt and Gusev and Hughes, to add another one just like kind of very similar in I don't know. We would have to see. I think they would have to be, again, the Devils would have to be blown away in that trade. But we will see. We will see what happens. It will be a lot of fun. It's always a lot of anticipation. There's always a lot of trade rumors going on, last minute wheeling and dealing, things falling through. There's always one deal that, it was real. Oh, it was when,
So our good friend Jake Wakely, hold on. Our good friend Jake Wakely just sent me an article, not an article, kind of like a screenshot of Twitter, and basically said that the Flames have been linked to Palmieri a lot. I've been hearing that a lot too. Thank you, Jake, for sending that, first of all. And
Jake.
He's a good man, but he has this weird thing where he's got to make fun of my infatuation with Mikey McLeod.
It's Jakey screenshots. Thank you, Jakey screenshots. I'm going to take the screenshots.
I know this won't happen. But something weird happened recently. Johnny Gaudreau took off all mentions of the Calgary Flames on his Twitter and social
Johnny
media. Wait, hold on. I know we're not getting him. I'm just saying. So he took off all mention of the Calgary Flames, and people started freaking out. And within a couple hours, he did it, and then a couple hours later, he reinstated all the. He was like, "Oh, I'm still a Flame, whatever." Blah blah. How crazy would it be? How crazy would it be if you just trade jersey for jersey? I mean, we'd have to send a pick for Gaudreau. I mean, there's no way we'd do Palmieri for Gaudreau would be 1-for-1 unless Fitzgerald had, the Flames GM at knife point or something like that. You charge a gun, you back away from a knife. You charge a gun. Sorry, I was watching The Irishman. I always tell him, you charge a gun. I was like, you really charge a gun?
I don't know, there, Al, but I don't know.
If there's a way for him for the Devils to pull Johnny Gaudreau, I would love to have that dude on our team. He would fit. Would fit in wonderfully.
Yeah, but I don't see that. Why?
The welcome back.
Why would Calgary trade them? Why? But why would Calgary trade him?
Maybe he's unhappy. Maybe he's like, I want to go home. You guys don't make good pizza at all. You guys suck.
No,
you guys are freaking jerks up here. He's got that really thick Jersey accent.
Yeah, I don't
like here. This is not fun for me anymore. You guys have terrible donuts. You call Taylor ham Canadian bacon. Yeah, apparently.
This is not fun anymore. Oh man,
this is no fun, dude. You're gonna get punched by Mike Tyson and John Hayden.
I don't want it. I don't want either of those to happen.
Apparently, a Mike Tyson punch is the equivalent of Ken Griffey Jr. swinging a home run bat against your head with a phone book. That was a reference I heard when I was 13. I was like, man, that's one heck of a punch. And it stuck with me forever. Anyways, go ahead.
Oh, Jerry, that comment just made me so mad. Covey currently getting paid by 4 different teams. Ugh.
And we're one of them.
Scumbag. Probably.
He's just fleecing the NHL.
But anyway, that's a good point though. When that Covey trade didn't that happen late? Didn't all that news come in late or something like that? Or am I misremembering that? The Covey news when we acquired him. I can't remember. Maybe I'm confusing with someone else.
That happened late at night?
That happened like just as the deadline was going through, and like the news reports didn't come out till like after 3:00.
Well, that's what happens a lot
occasionally.
Yeah, because I think they still do it in an antiquated system like the NFL does, where you have to send like an actual physical fax.
I might be thinking of someone else, but
head office or something like that. It's so stupid. Go send it by find a man and a horse. Give him the package.
Make sure I saw a couple of comments on here too about people that I don't want to see traded, and who was this? I can't find it now. Someone had mentioned, Ramona had mentioned not trading Jesper Bratt, who I gotta say I was never huge on Bratt because
piece.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I was never really huge on him because I don't know. He seems to be a defensive liability, and he just doesn't. I don't know. For me, he doesn't assert himself enough. But the past couple weeks, he's looked pretty good, and he's pretty lethal with that break. That breakaway move, using it in the shootout as well. So I don't know. Maybe that's a player that's turning the corner. So in deadline deals, now that we don't know exactly what's going to happen. I was under the firm belief that only people that were UFAs were really going to get traded with Fitzgerald because he has, he doesn't have the official GM title. But now we see that all bets are off with Coleman going, and the offers are coming in. He's going to be thinking about it. But I'd really like to see the Devils kind of hang on to Bratt and kind of hang on to Gusev as well, and see what these two players can develop into. There any players that you would like to not see go, that could be possible?
You nailed two of them, especially Gusev. I feel like hopefully he looks at it and says like, man, these guys actually gave me my first shot, and I know we have him for another year, and then he'll be a UFA after next year, I believe, because we only signed him for a 2-year deal.
2-year deal, yep.
I would like to see him extended.
I like what he's been bringing to the team. It seems like he's really adjusting to the North American game. And, we've talked about it on this podcast plenty of times that you can see teams starting to back off from him, especially on the power play, kind of watching him a little bit more. Sometimes they're trying to attack him a little bit more to put pressure on him. But they know that he is like a pivotal piece of that offense, especially for special teams. And he really did wonders with, also, getting Blake Coleman to excel his game. I'm kind of hoping, we'll see where he develops, but kind of hoping that Gusev turns into one of those players that, maybe he's not going to be putting in 30 to 40 goals every year, but if he's in the high teens and close to 20s, but he gives you 40 to 50 assists, he might be one of those guys that just really makes the other two guys in the line that much better when they play together.
Yeah. There's a lot of chatter about there's a nice picture of Nico hugging Andy Green. There's a lot of chatter about Palmieri possibly going to I'm sorry. I'm like trying to read at the same time as I'm trying to do other things.
Oh,
there's a lot of
trying to do two things at once. A little confusing there, huh?
Trying to chew bubble gum and run at the same time.
Funny, you got that drinking beer and doing stuff, down pat. Huh? How that works out?
But there's been a lot of speculation about the Boston Bruins possibly going after Palmieri, but they just gave away their first round pick.
No pick. No pick.
Unless they had,
No
but that's the other thing
pick.
too is you don't necessarily need to get a pick back in return. What you need to get back in return is a commodity that's going to be worth your while. And
If yes,
there could be a couple of things coming back that way, but I mean it's crazy. Like I don't want to see him go. Okay, hold on. Let me see.
No, I'm here. Don't worry.
Williams still talking with the Canadians and Devils. Tatar, Palmieri, 2 names by plenty of competition, 3 to 4 teams in the mix on both. Okay, so if anybody is familiar with Twitter, I follow Incarcerated Bob, and Incarcerated Bob is a funny name. But this dude,
have you heard of the Twitter out there? Do you know about this social media platform? It's called the Twitter. You put out the tweets, and people read them.
Yeah, well, anyways,
on the Twitter.
So this dude is he always has like a good inside kind of line on things, whether it's the NHL or whatever, blah blah blah. He mentioning the fact that the Calgary the Flames are in on it big time, and there's 3 to 4 other teams that are on it on Palms.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much speculation. There's so much like this guy's going to move.
Value,
this guy's going to move.
He's got the highest value he's ever had.
So, okay. So the reason why I'm bringing all this up, if you're Fitzgerald,
mm-hmm.
are you waiting as long as you possibly can until you get to the point where you're at the trade deadline?
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? Like, are you pushing it all the way to the end, and then trying to see what the best return you can get?
You're in the power seat. Like, we don't need to trade Kyle Palmieri. We don't have to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's very good where he is right now. He provides awesome leadership. He can put the puck in the net. You know, he's good for these young kids to be playing with. Him and Nico, since Nico started, basically. So we don't need to trade him. So I think Fitz holds out. Especially if there's more than one team calling, you know, if it's just one team that you're really working with, then I guess, you know, you can make that decision now it comes. But if there are multiple teams knocking on the door, especially at this trade deadline, when you have some teams like a team like Boston who doesn't have a pick next year in the first round that maybe you're looking for, but does have, I don't know, they do have some controllable young assets at wing. Maybe you can get, you know, you got to see what they're willing to give. Maybe someone is just willing to take that step because you are in that power position. We don't need to give up Kyle Palmieri. It's not like, oh, we need Boston to give us this or we need Calgary to do this so we can make this deal. Man, we don't have to do it. Don't have to do it. We got an awesome player in Kyle Palmieri who is under control next year as well. You know, if he wants to test free agency or whatever next year, that's his right as a player. But as we've talked about many times and we've mentioned, you know, between him and Nico Hischier, I don't know if there's better captain candidates on the team right now. So,
yeah,
I say if you're Fitzgerald, you're gonna wait. You're gonna wait unless someone comes with just like, you know, stupid, you know, something, you know, just, you know, willing to break up. I don't know, you know, Godfather style, making an offer you can't refuse. You know, I say you wait until if there's multiple teams, waiting. One team, you play it how you see it. If you're not blown away with it, keep Kyle Palmieri. He's a great guy for the team, for the image. You know what he's doing with the military ball. He's a good guy. He's a good fella.
He's a good guy. He's a nice guy. You know, he tries really hard to be a good asset. I don't know, dude. Kyle
shoots the puck. You know, Kyle shoots the puck. Yeah, that's what he likes to do. He shoots the puck, you know?
I know it's going to happen. And I'm like, I just...
Makes amazing meatballs.
He's one of those dudes that was one of those under the radar moves by Ray Shero that when they first brought him over, I'm like, yeah, but I mean, he was buried in Anaheim, and like, if you're telling me, but first of all, if there's somebody out there is like, oh, I knew who Palmieri was, really knew who he was before he became a Devil, you are so full of it. Unless you're one of these people that is so locked into the NHL and you know every aspect of every team, because that dude was buried on the Anaheim Ducks.
He was.
I had no idea. I had an inkling of like who he was when they first acquired him, but I gotta tell you, he was one of those players that you fell in love with like right off the bat. The jersey connection was a big part of that because I thought that was such a cool thing. Hey, Jersey Joe, heck yeah, I'll have a beer with you. Whatever you want to do, man. We'll meet up. I know you're over in right next to Ocean Grove, so we'll meet up. But anyways.
Trade PK, Ramona. Woo. Love to trade PK, but I don't think anyone's taking that contract.
Nobody's taking that contract. Unless we take half of it back, nobody's taking that contract. And I love PK's like, dude, and for all the people that hate on PK, he's got the right kind of like attitude. He's got the right kind of like.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying it is whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but Palm's coming to this team. He's one of those dudes that you fell in love with, like an Adam Henrique. That he didn't do what Adam did for this team, but at the same time, like fans appreciate Palmieri because of the type of player he is, because he has that grit about him. He's a I don't know. I don't want to see him go, but it's like this is the part of the business and the part of being a fan that absolutely sucks. Sucks.
It's tough, man.
You buy a jersey of somebody and you're like, damn it, now I can't wear it. You can listen, if Palmieri gets traded and you have a Palmieri jersey, wear that jersey. That's not like one of those ones like that goddamn Kovalchuk jersey I have hanging in my closet that I'm never gonna wear to a game ever again.
Kovalchuk. Ugh. My beautiful green retro ruined. I have to get it unstitched one of these days. I don't want to ruin the jersey though. It is actually really nice. One of these days, when I don't know, I'll never have money like that to waste. LA's way too expensive.
I know. I keep saying I'm waiting for a 17. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, Palms, it's tough. I don't really want to trade him either, but like I said, I didn't want to get rid of Coleman, and since we got so much for Coleman, now I'm interested to see what we can possibly get. And it may be one of those things where it is the best thing for the team in the long run. But I don't think we have to make a deal. Vatanen, if we can, same thing with Wayne Simmons, because they are UFAs. And I'm sure Sami, it's his right. Why wouldn't he, go out and test free agency? So it's his right. And if you... What?
Matt on the Facebook, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Matt on the Facebook group just had a great idea. Change the nameplate to Sikora and get the Peter Sikora jersey, number 17. And our good friend, may I say best friend, William H. Bauman, said he can do it. He can actually, he's done it before. He's taken a nameplate off before, and he didn't. Yeah, he's got
I've seen his work before. Oh boy. Oh jeez. Oh man.
Do we keep Nazardine next year?
Fantasy championship felt good. Do we keep Nazardine next year? No, probably not. I don't think
Benji Stone, you've been smoking some kind of crack over there, my friend. We love you, but my goodness,
it's not crack.
We can make the playoffs. We can make the wild card. We can make the playoffs. We can make the wild card.
Yeah, no.
I hope that's just optimism and not just.
I want to see the team play well. I can't remember. I do believe it was our good friend Tim Clark Callahan, who is now running Callahan Auto Parts. I believe he said it. We're only a couple games under 500. I thought as a team goal, if this team could end up in the 500 range, that would be a really good sign for the future, especially now if we're going to make these deals and trade some people. To see the young kids come in and perform, I've liked what I've seen so far from Joey Anderson. I'm not blown away. but I've liked what I've seen. Is there development there? Yeah. Kevin Rooney is playing a lot better. Gusev is performing more. I like to see Nico. We've been praising him the past couple of weeks, but I like to see him, get some more consistency on the scoring and everything. If you're going to be that leader, be that number one center, be out there taking those minutes. Just like to see a little bit more consistency with the scoring, but it's coming along. It's getting there. And if we could end in that 500 range, and if we are really relying on Mac Black, who should be in the running for Rookie of the Year, I think it'll be a good sign for the team that some of the pieces are really starting to come together.
So I'm going to take it that was your final thought. My final
I'm going to
thought
go with
this,
final thought. Final answer.
Final answer. Thank you to Stacey White. Thank you to Ryan Mann. Thank you, our good man, William Bauman, who said that my stitch removal will be for free. Yours will cost $100. Thank you, Benji Stone. Lay off the crack. It's not going to help you. Our good man, Joe, and congratulations, Joe, on your podcast, which is doing pretty awesome and is also a good listen as well. Tim Callahan, fan favorite. Jerry, I would sit here and name everybody. Matt, Pete, thank you guys, because without you guys, none of this would be
naming. How you
possible.
forgot people? You forgot people, Scott. How dare you?
Oh, Omar. Sorry, Omar. Hey,
Ah.
I'm sorry, man. I'm trying.
You didn't even mention
Omar
anybody on
and-
YouTube or Twitter.
Everybody on YouTube, everybody on Facebook, everybody on every platform that listens to
You
us.
see that?
Thank
now
you
he's
for
just,
listening.
he just lumped everyone in together. Everybody. Jeez.
Yeah, well, hey, listen,
Some hosts.
thank you to everybody that listens to us ramble on, and thank you for joining us. Tomorrow's going to be a crazy day. I don't know if we're going to have breaking news podcast. We might. Depends on if we get caught in the right situation. I think we might have a podcast tomorrow night to talk about any of the possible moves that it might be happening. My last and final thought for the night, I will say this, my prediction, I hate to say this, Palmieri gets traded, Vatanen gets traded, Simmons gets traded, and there's going to be a wild card that might shock everybody that's going to happen tomorrow, whether it be Butcher or Wood or somebody, but I feel like something is going to happen that's going to be off of the radar, but expect some big return tomorrow for a couple of these guys that are going to get traded. Scotty, always a pleasure. Sam, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, guys. Oh, I thought I was supposed to do the outro.
You do it. Yeah, you're the
wanna
outro.
do
You're
it?
the outro. No,
All right.
no, you do it.
Yeah, so we'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, for a special edition of the Let's Go Devils podcast. Look out during the day tomorrow for any kind of breaking news, but we're going to recap 9 p.m. Eastern. The Let's Go Devils podcast, all powered by Nova Product Design from Primetime Radio. Till next time, Devils fans, let's go Devils!